4 days, 16 head coaches, hundreds of questions. By now, you've probably heard who won SEC Media Days, who said something controversial, and who's picked to win the conference. But after watching every press conference this week, I came away with something very different. SEC Media Days wasn't really about football. It was about how the business of college football continues to change. Here's what SEC Media Days told us. Every coach has a different personality. Every program has different expectations. But after 4 days, several themes kept surfacing over and over again. Taken together, they paint a picture of where the SEC and college football is headed. Theme 1. The head coach isn't just a football coach anymore. One of the biggest takeaways from the week is how much the job has evolved. Listen carefully. And the coaches aren't just talking about third down efficiency or blitz packages anymore. They're talking about roster retention, player acquisition, culture, staffing, development. Jeff Levy talked about retaining his roster, acquiring talent through the portal, and building the right staff before discussing X's and O's. That's because today's head coach isn't simply coaching football. He's leading an organization. Theme 2. Every year is a rebuild. Steve Sarkisian made a comment that perfectly illustrates today's reality. Texas lost 40 scholarship players and brought in 47 new scholarship players. Think about that. 10 years ago, continuity was the goal. Recruit well, develop your players who waited for their chance. Today, rebuilding has become part of the annual calendar. The transfer portal has fundamentally changed roster construction, and every coach in this league is adjusting to it. Theme 3, culture isn't a slogan anymore. Another word that kept showing up this week, culture, but not in the cliche sense. Sarkisian admitted that he believed Texas waited too long to begin its culture work last season, so this year they started much earlier. That's organizational learning. The best programs aren't just evaluating players, they're evaluating themselves. Theme 4, the SEC isn't as unified as it once was. One thing I was watching this week wasn't just what coaches said individually, it was what the conference was saying collectively. At the SEC spring meetings in Destin, it became clear the conference isn't moving in lockstep the way it has historically. Some schools favor a 12-team college football playoff. Others would rather see a larger field because it improves their path to the postseason. That may sound like a small disagreement, but it's actually significant. For decades, one of the SEC's greatest strengths has been speaking with one voice on the biggest issues in college football. As media rights, playoff expansion, and the future structure of the sport continue to evolve, maintaining that alignment may become one of Commissioner Greg Sankey's biggest challenges. That's something I'll be watching long after media days are over. Theme 5, personality still matters. One thing hasn't changed. College football is still driven by personalities. Lane Kiffin reminded everyone of that with his Ring camera story after Pete Golding joked about buying Kiffin's old house. It was funny. It was memorable. And it also reminded us that perception is part of the job right now. Media Days isn't just about answering questions. It's about leading your program publicly. Some coaches embrace that better than others. When I look back on these 4 days, I don't think the biggest story was a prediction or a quote. I think the biggest story was this. The job description of a college football coach has fundamentally changed. They're still leading coaches and players. They're still recruiting. But they're also managing multi-million-dollar rosters, overseeing personnel departments, shaping culture, handling NIL, working with general managers, and serving as the public face of multi-million-dollar athletic enterprises. And that's what SEC Media Days told me. The organizational chart has changed. For more insights into the business of college football, hit that subscribe button. I'm Mike Chaudron, and I'll see you next time.